Hi everyone, thank you for clicking in. My name is Rod, and in this video we're going to discuss two very important subjects for every immigrant student in high school. First, we're going to discuss how and why these ELD or ESL programs that you're being offered or forced to take in high school are putting you as an immigrant student at disadvantage versus someone who was born here or those who don't have to take these courses. And then second, we're going to discuss or get deeper into the infrastructures of high schools in the United States versus what you've been told by your relatives or what you've seen in these fancy Hollywood movies. Alright, so stay tuned, and if you watch this whole video towards the end, I'm going to discuss a couple tricks and tips that worked personally for me and was able to help me overcome these challenges that the system forced me to go through, and hopefully it will do the same for you. So without further ado, let's get into those. My name is Rod, and I migrated to the US about 8 years ago with my parents. And among many immigrants, the primary goal for me was to receive my education from one of the top universities in the US. And after a couple years, I have to say that I successfully was able to achieve that. I graduated from one of the top universities not only in the US but in the world. And I think now it's the perfect time for me to give back to my community by creating this YouTube channel, where I'm going to discuss various topics and the challenges that exist in those paths and how I personally was able to overcome it. This way, I will give my community a chance to share their tips and tricks and their recommendations with other immigrant students, those who just moved here or those who are going through these different challenges. So really, this YouTube channel is for us immigrant students to interact with one another. And if you see there are topics that you would like me to cover, please comment them down below, or you think that the tips or recommendations that I make in these YouTube videos are something that does not go along with how the system works in your area, please let us know, because whatever I'm going to discuss in these videos are primarily coming from the West Coast experience that I had from ever since pretty much that I moved to the US. Alright, so let's get into the subject of this video. Why or how these ELD or ESL programs that you are being offered in universities are putting you, in high schools are putting you at disadvantage. So first of all, why even high school? Why don't I bother by creating the very first video of this channel about something more interesting or something that often more YouTube channels talk about, such as college application? Because to me personally, going through these different levels of educations in the US, I really believe that high school is one of those jumping stages that either make students' life very enjoyable and less challenging in the next 4 years of their lives, meaning during the college, and be able to help them take advantage of the opportunities that exist that will put them at a better stage for getting jobs or applying for jobs, versus those who have to basically transfer to a community college and from there transfer out to a university. Because I personally have done that. I went the second way. However, if I knew what exactly I had to look for when I was in high school, I definitely would be able to get accepted into these good universities and didn't have to deal with these different challenges. So please stay tuned and then see if what I say makes sense and take care of these challenges with using these tips and tricks that I'm going to offer. So one of the main common issues that nobody basically tell us immigrant students is that how important are these math and ESL tests that at the beginning of our educational journey we have to take. And I'm here to tell you they are very important, and nobody told me that, but please study hard for them. And I'm going to discuss why. So the lower you rank with these ELD levels or ESL placement tests, it means that the university or that institution or high school is going to force you to take more ELD or ESL courses because they consider you or your English as not efficient, or that efficiency rate is pretty low. Alright, so what will it do is that it will take away these opportunities from you as a sophomore, freshman, junior, or senior to take these courses that you have to for your grade. Instead, you have to take these English or ELD courses. So guess what's going to happen? When you go to your 12th grade and you're getting ready to apply for these different universities, you often don't have all these courses that other students in your grade have taken them. Even worse, you never were provided with the opportunity to take these courses in or at an honor level or AP level. Why? Because you were limited to only take these ESL or ELD courses. So, for example, let's put my case into the place. When I came here, nobody told me that I have to study. As a matter of fact, when I asked some people who have taken those tests a week before me, they told me, don't worry about it. It's only a 5 to 20 minutes test, and there's a small portion of writing, and you don't have to worry about things. And the worst advice that they told me is that you don't want to study for these tests. Why? Because just imagine you place or they put you at a higher placement than where you should be. And then you have to go through an entire year struggling and suffering with those heavy courses or the course load and etc. etc. However, this is absolutely false. And I wish somebody would have told me to study for that. Again, because the lower you get placed, the more English courses you have to take. And that will take away opportunities from taking these courses. So for example, in United States, that's how the high school works in the West Coast. So you have A days and B days. And in each day, you have 3 periods. Period 1, 2, 3 on A days, and period 4, 5, and 6 on B days. Alright, so basically 6 opportunities. Now, if you place on the lower ranking ones, such as what I did or what I got, is that you basically, out of those 6 opportunities that you have to take classes, you have to sacrifice 3 of them, which I did. Now, guess what? They will force you to take 2 years of PE or exercise classes. So that one is already eliminated. And every year you have to take a math course. So that one is eliminated as well. So you're really left with one opportunity to take a course for your grade. And just imagine or put it side by side by someone who was born here or someone who doesn't have to take these courses, these ELD courses, these ELD forced courses. Alright, so they will have 6 opportunities as well as you did, right? But you were only able to take 1 course for your grade. Now, okay, let's eliminate PE and math from their schedule. Now they have 4 other options to take biology, to take chemistry, to take anything else that they want to, photography, engineering, or etc. etc. But all of those options have been eliminated from your schedule because you place at the lower ranking level. Okay, now guess what? For example, let's say that student who has the option to take all these courses will take an English and really like the subject and does well, receives an A. Now what's going to happen next year when they're becoming a junior? They're going to say that I really like the subjects, I did well, now I want to take, rather than taking a regular English course, regular English 3 for their junior year, they either want to take an honor course or an AP course. So how it works is that often high schools offer regular classes, honor classes, and AP classes where you can take these courses and use their credit towards your college. And what's going to happen is that as an immigrant student, when you're limited to take the regular courses for your grade, you will never be able to have the opportunity to take those AP or honor courses. Or it's very exceptional cases that you can. And in majority of cases, it will be for math, okay? But not for all the courses. Versus someone who was born here or don't have to take these ELD or ESL courses, they basically have this advantage over you. And guess what? It will glow in their transcript when they have to apply to these different universities and they have something to talk about. For example, they can say that I want to be an English major because I took these English classes in my freshman year. Sophomore year, I took the honor English courses and I did well there too. And in junior year, I took the AP courses, and I did amazing there too. So that's why I want to major English and continue my education there. So you see, not only they have the advantage of taking different courses where it will help their application, but now it can help their story. Versus you as an immigrant student, because you were limited with these courses, these ELD courses, you don't have it. You won't have those opportunities. Alright, now let's get into the secondary factors of why these ELD or ESL courses are really going against you and putting you at a disadvantage. Okay, so the primarily reason or the argument with these courses is that your English is not efficient enough, or your efficiency rate is pretty low, meaning you have to take more of these ELD courses in order to improve, right? But guess what? In those courses, they force you to read these outdated books that doesn't really teach you how the current generation talks. What are the vocabularies they use? What is it that they're into? What is this new American culture? Or what is the American culture overall? Instead, you have to go and read it from these books and trust them. Why is that? Instead of putting you among these people who were born here or our first generation and are growing up in this culture and know the language very well, to teach you how to pronounce these words, because when they're speaking, you're listening and you can pick up how to pronounce these words, how to say or how to put together your sentences, you know? Instead, they will force you to go to these ELD courses, sit next to a community who is looking for the same thing as you, who come from different countries and looking to learn this American culture and these like different grammatical way to put together their sentences and etc. etc. So they put you with people that are looking for the same thing but don't have the answers. And then they force you to learn these answers from these boring and outdated books versus allowing you to sit next to somebody who will provide you with these answers. And in majority of the times, you will pick it up yourself. Now that's the first secondary reason that these ELD or ESL courses are putting you at a disadvantage. The second secondary reason is that most likely, if you're like me and coming to the US without having people in high school, you probably don't have as much resources or people to ask about the opportunities that exist in these high schools, because they're very different from at least where I come from. Alright? So when they separate you, who are you going to ask these questions? From your counselors? Often they're so busy and they won't be able to always give you the best answers. But when you're among those people who are active, who were born here and are participating in these various avenues of the high school, they can provide you with these answers, or at least you can get tipped off by just looking at their actions or analyzing their actions. Okay, and be like, oh, I want to do the same thing. I want to be active in this field too. For example, a case in point will be my specific case, where in my math class, as I said, that was one of the two opportunities that I was provided, where I could sit next to those who were born here and don't have to take these classes, basically first generation immigrants. Now, the guy who was sitting next to me, his name was AJ, and one day I saw him coming to the class with a very nice jersey, had number in the back and his name. And I was like, damn man, you're like part of the team or something like that? And he was like, no, there's a volleyball tryout tonight and I'm trying to get into the team. And I was like, okay, so what is this tryout that you talk about, how expensive it is? Because I come from a low-income background, so I was like, if it's expensive, I probably won't attend. If it requires any money, I probably won't even attend. And he was like, no, every school has a team and various teams. And then what happens is that you go to the trial, you need to know at least a little bit. And then we will have coaches that will educate you and help you to grow and basically teach you how the sport works. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. And I was like, for free? And he said, yes. So guess what? I showed up, I knew a little bit of volleyball or like what to do and what not to do, and I become part of the team. And to tell you the truth, I was the only one in that ESL class or that ELD class that knew such a thing exists and was able to take advantage of it. Now just imagine if I never had an interaction with someone like AJ, I would definitely not take advantage of this opportunity. Now guess what? Such an opportunity, meaning being part of a team, not will only help your application because you can talk about it, just like you can talk about those AP or honor courses that you're being opt out of basically, but it can give you an opportunity to apply for different scholarships or even receive a full ride scholarship to these different universities. So you see, these like ELD courses where they put you and separate you from all these people in your grade are putting you really at a disadvantage. Now at least that's my understanding, or what was the case for me. Alright, now in the last part of this video, let's sum it up what I just said and then get into the tricks and tips that personally worked for me, and hopefully it will do the same for you. Alright, so let's say based on everything that we discussed, this is you, this is someone who was born here. Because of these ELD classes that you have to take, you're basically eliminated from taking the classes that you need for your grade, which ultimately can, which in my case did, put you at a disadvantage when it comes to applying for colleges, because your transcript will be very different than someone who was born here or don't have to take these classes. Alright, so you're already below that person who was born here or don't have to take these classes. Now, because they have the ability to take the regular classes, they also are provided with this opportunity to make an argument that I like this subject, and next semester or next year, they take the honor course or the AP course. And it will give them, not only it will glow in their application, but it will give them a chance to talk about these courses and why they gravitated towards them, and how they want to basically pursue their future education in those institutions that they're going to start their education to. In this case, institution means universities. So again, not only not taking these ESL courses are providing them with advantage, but they're putting you as an immigrant student at a disadvantage. Now take a look at this gap that exists. This is going to come into play again when you become a 12th grader or when you become a senior and you have to apply for colleges. Now some people will argue, especially counselors are telling you that, but you have a unique story, you come from a different country, you are unique because of these challenges that you went through, and you can talk about them in your personal statement. And it's absolutely true, and it helps. It actually helped me. However, they also factor in those grades that you got and the classes that you have taken. And in majority of courses, as I mentioned before, they're going to have this question in their head that how this person that comes from another country had to take these ESL courses to improve their English, never taken these biology or chemistry courses, which basically is going to be based on part of their GE or general education, where they have to take, even if their major is not biology or chemistry, for the first 2 years of their university, how they're going to combat these challenges. They never experienced it before. So that's like one question that I'm not going to answer, but that's going to be in their head, in those people that going to review your application's head when they're reviewing your applications. Now there are some and very, very few universities or institutions that going to overlook these, but there often are very low ranking, meaning that they basically bring up some BS reasons to invite you to those universities, or there are very high rankings where your personal statement matters a lot to them. For example, Harvard is one of them, and I was lucky enough to get waitlisted because of my personal statement, and I didn't have all the courses that other of my colleagues or classmates had. Now, this is very rare, again, very, very rare, but in majority of the cases, you will be eliminated because you don't have these courses in your transcripts. So hopefully people who are sitting up there will hear my voice and see this video, or somehow get this notification that they have to change the system for us immigrant students to succeed, but that's how it is. Alright, now let's get into some tricks and tips that personally worked for me. Alright, so what are these tricks and tips that I have for you? First, in order to really understand them and be able to take advantage of them, we first have to understand or get a better understanding of the infrastructures of high schools in the United States. Alright, in the US you have A days and B days, and maybe it's specific to the West Coast, but that's how it works here. You have A days and B days, and in each day you're provided with 3 periods. So period 1, 2, 3 on A days, period 4, 5, and 6 on B days. Now, due to these ELD courses or ESL courses that you have to take, you're limited already with like some of the opportunities that you have, meaning out of those 6. Often you have to give up either 3 of those opportunities or 2 of your periods for those ESL courses. Alright, so let's say you gave that up, and then what you have is that you have a PE that you have to take, you have a math that you have to take, and then you're often left with like 1 opportunity, as we discussed. Now, there are something called 0 periods and 7th periods. 0 periods are basically periods that will start before the school officially starts. Alright, before all the classes are enrolled or get started, you will be able to come to class and sign up for those classes and take them. Now, the thing with those classes is that often you don't have the opportunity to take every classes on 0 period, and often they're half time or half of a regular class. Meaning, for example, if every class in my case was 1 hour and 30 minutes, which is I think is the standard everywhere, those 0 periods or 7 period are 45 minutes. What does it mean? It means that rather than coming to class or taking those classes every other day, you're coming to those classes every day to fill out for that 1.5 hour. Alright, so what I did is that I particularly put my PE course, that one course that I had to take for 2 years, as a 0 period, because who doesn't want to exercise in the morning? And it's good for your body, right? Now, with doing that, I freed one of those opportunities in my schedule to take an extra course in compared to my colleagues or peers. So what I did is that I put that as a 0 period, my PE course as a 0 period, and I took a biology course. And what I did is that I moved my math course into the 7th period, and now I had another opportunity to take a different course, which I was enrolled into a history course for my junior year. Now, although these classes, the 7th period and 0 period, will give you some options or some wiggle rooms, they're often, again, very limited in terms of the classes that you can take. For example, in my case, for 0 period, you had a better option. For example, you could take math courses, you could take PE courses, you could take various online courses. However, for the 7th period, you were only limited to the online courses where you would go to a class, a proctor will oversee you, and you basically had to log into a computer and get yourself busy for 45 minutes. Or you had to take a math course with a different instructor. Alright, now that's one of the options that even if you're placed into the lower levels of ESL or ELD, you'll be able to still free up some rooms in your schedule and take the courses that you need for your grade. Now, the second option that you get, or I personally take advantage of, was going to summer schools. Why summer schools? Summer schools have a bad reputation. Why? Because they often are for people who didn't do well during the semester or basically failed their courses. But that shouldn't matter to you, basically, what I'm trying to say, because you really are trying to take as many courses as you possibly can and take advantage of the opportunities that exist outside of that. So what I did is that during the summer I took either math courses or English courses or history courses in order to combat these losses that I had to take over the semester or over the year. And again, it didn't have a good reputation. They are often at a different location, so you have to commit to that transportation or however you have to get there, because I personally had to walk and it was not an enjoyable time. But again, it was an opportunity that will provide me with some wiggle room in my schedule and would improve my application when it comes to applying for colleges. So that's that. Again, I want to make sure that you understand that there's some commitment to make. There's some discouragement that comes with the reputation of summer courses, and the variety of the classes that you're offered often aren't as nice or as well instructed as what you get during basically the regular year. Okay, but those are the two options that you get that you can take advantage of. I want to thank every single one of you for watching this video. I would really like if you can subscribe to this channel as we get started, like and share this video with other colleagues of yours or other immigrant students that you think this video will help them. Again, this is one of many videos that will come out, and I try to get deeper into different subjects by making quote-unquote longer videos on these subjects, but try to provide not only my experience and what I went through, but some of the tips and tricks that helped me. So you will decide for yourself if you want to take advantage of those, if you want to agree with those or not. Alright, but that's a primary reason of this channel, for us to come together and help one another to grow. Until the next video, peace out.